Welcome back to the Glaze Studios oil painting tutorial. I'm Gomati Sivasankaran. We are in class 3 of the Gaja Lakshmi painting, one of the 8 paintings of 8 goddesses that represent health, wealth, on all the prosperities of life. This is an amazing project, and I'm so happy that I am sharing this with you also in the tutorial format while I work on creating the same. And by now you would have understood that we are, though this is a very well-known zone of art, of painting gods and goddesses, I am giving it a touch of diversity, and we have been using references, that are multiple references to work on something like this. So this session is going to be on layer 2, which is the blocking part. What we did in the last 2 classes was to focus on the grids. So we did the references, we worked around planning on the references, and then the execution of that plan into the canvas was really what we did in our previous class. And now that we have some shapes done, it's still looking like it needs of fine tuning first, and also it needs some colors to kind of block and say, hey, this is how things are going to kind of look like. So that's exactly where we stand with this class, and that's exactly what we are going to do today. We have gone through a lot about materials in the basic session, so I'm not going to go over what exactly I am using. So it's going to be oil paints definitely, and soft synthetic brushes. When I pick up the colors, I will definitely show you around or what exactly are the colors that I'm using. And and of course the focus is really going to be on the canvas. So if you see me with the colors that I'm mixing, I don't see any necessity in terms of following the same colors, because I'm also trying to improvise and trying to have different colors, except for the ones which is important, that is the face of the girl, or certain things that you have to be in a certain color. um, Most of it I would also give you the liberty that you try some different colors for her dress and so on. The lotus is essentially going to be a pink lotus, but it's again your choice of the kind of lotus that you want to do. Most of it, even in the pink, there's a lot of variation, the lotuses. So there's a lot of things that you could play around with, which I also want to play around with. So try your best to give some nice colors yourself. So in this way, this kind of class is going to give you some kind of liberty to play around. At the same time, there is this restriction on the key character, and of course, the key components. So that's going to be it. Let's get started. I am going to first work on the baby girl's face and her skin tone in her hands. I'm looking at her, and I think when I did it, um, the face and everything looks fine. I really liked the overall structure that we had created. So uh, I'm just looking for possibilities of corrections. There's always something. Maybe one size bigger to just make her look a little more chubbier or something. When it comes to working on her skin tone, we could adjust that. That's one thing I had in mind. And another thing is that there is a lot of hair falling on her forehead, but when we paint her forehead fully, as though there's no hair at all falling, and then we do the hair fall in one of those layers that we work on in the future. So these things I think we'll have to note. Her teeth is awesome. We're not going to work on her teeth fully today. Not the details. So it's a blocking. So don't get too much involved into the details. Uh, with that, I think let's mix the colors. So the base color that I usually prefer mixing is vermilion and yellow ochre. This is not vermilion. So there's vermilion here, and then it's got blue. Oh no. So I have vermilion with me, and I do have my yellow ochre. Um, we have gone in the details of the materials that I use multiple brands. It's just because I am also transitioning between brands and learning more about which brand works well, where and why. So I am not sticking to one particular brand alone. At least I've not been doing that for the last 4 or 5 years. Yeah, and I think the way I have my palette, my oil painting card, I can definitely tell you that I will be using mixed brands for at least the upcoming 3 to 4 years. Yes. So I take the yellow ochre and a little bit of vermilion, which I already have here, and I'm going to mix that. When I mix that, usually there's this nice color tone that I get. That's a skin tone. But we'll have to remember that this is a Asian skin tone. This girl is possibly from China, Japan. I don't remember exactly which origin when I was researching where I picked her picture up. Um, but I can tell, yeah, that it should be some, Asian origin. And when we paint Asian origin, it's a good mix to add a little bit of permanent yellow as well. So I'm also going to have that with me. Mhm. I'll show you shortly as to what I'm doing here. You can get to see that. I have brush number 1 flat. And I'm going to mix a bit of vermilion and yellow ochre and add that yellow as well to get to this color tone that is. I'm adding a little bit more of yellow, and we will need white as well because this is slightly on the darker side and she's got a lighter skin tone. So I'm adding a bit more of the yellow, making it dominate a bit. And to that, if I add titanium white. And see where this goes. And one more thing is that this is not the final color. We are just blocking her skin tone. We will work on her face again. I think I am convinced with the color tonality. It needs to be even more lighter. So if you see the original color that I mixed, that's really on the darkest side. It can be used for another culture. I think this one is really on the lighter side, and yeah, this is coming close to it. Where it is 80% close, I stop and I start working on it because like I said, this is going to be one of the layers that we will focus on. So I'm going to use the same brush number 1 flat to So I'm just gonna do a little bit. Yes, I think it goes well, and as I had expected, it is blending and mixing with the previous colors. It's dry, but the previous colors are also visible, which is usually the case, you know. And I'm doing a bit of her hair space, also turning it into skin tone here, which which is which is going to look odd for a while, but when we come to the stage of working on the hair, you will appreciate it. Yeah, you'll see the need of why, because the way, you know, the skin tone is appearing in between the strands of hair, you know, it's easier to paint this way. I'm taking a little more of that curve to make it chubby already. All right. So, and I'm going around the eye area, on the lip area. I want to use this color so this is so light. I think we can add a little bit of titanium white to just place the space between the lip where the teeth is to appear. We'll just leave it lighter and then we'll work on it later. So if you see, if you try to add more of this color to this, it might get a lot messier. So whatever the canvas can take, let it take. We will come back to working on these again when we do the layers. So do not worry about that. I did the neck now, and we'll come back to the eyes and details in a short while. So I'm doing the ear. Pretty. I did the ear and I did the neck. The neck, I think this size is fine. So if you see, I'm using the lines, contours, in some cases leaving out the lines, in some cases where I think it's oversized. So that's one easier way to play around if you are missing, let's say, a quarter millimeter or something like that, you know. But if you are going to have a major change, that's another story altogether. In my case, I feel it's all fine. I'm moving on to her hand. The hand I want it slightly bigger, so I'm enveloping all those contours, so it also makes a part of the hand. Yeah, and when I do the fingers, which I will show right away, yeah, this finger, so I'm also bringing it slightly one notch bigger. So yeah, I'm just keeping in mind that she's a chubby little kid. I want her to look that happy and chubby. Yeah, I'm working on the arms first to make things simpler for myself. Um, that will be easy if you are feeling it um, difficult to gauge how the fingers also have to look like. Focus on the arm first and do not get worried if you see that the colors are blending with the previous ones, or you know the contour lines are blending, or the grids colors are blending. It is okay, you know, it's okay as long as you can see where things are. We are only blocking, we are not doing any refining work in the painting right now, so we're far away from the refining job, so do not worry about it. So we have managed her um, arms. Let's do the fingers. For the fingers we need to understand how the fingers are placed in the original picture. This one was giving, the one that we already did for a sample was, kind of giving. That is fine. The other one is blessing. There is a slight, bend in the hand. It's not like this, stretched out, or going straight like this. And it's really welcoming in a way, very, very easily placed, and also slightly slanted. So we also have to keep that in mind to keep that beauty. Why is it so important to focus on the hand? Because hands are tough. That's one reason, definitely. But the reason here in this picture is that when we talk about all this, attracting abundance, wealth, and these goddesses bringing all the wealth and so on, it's not like a thing that you blindly pray to this goddess and she's going to give you everything. She is actually metaphorically showing you to use action, your hands, to achieve what you want, set a goal and go for it, work ethically, be happy to give to people, be happy to be open. There's so many things, and that's when we actually attract abundance. So there is so much to it, and that is really defined through these hands. So really focus on the hands, and that's what I also say to myself when I'm saying this to you, that I should focus a little more on the hand than I usually do. And yeah, I try my best, and I hope we all do our best here. So I've put in the hand here and filled in the hand here. I'm aware that it's blending with the previous colors and there is different tonalities coming up, but it is fine for me right now. I am getting the picture that I want, and I'm happy with this. This is fine for me. It works for me. I'm going to keep this aside and think of a clothing. I had thought of, there's so many colors. She's got a nice, what is she wearing in her original picture? She's a Chinese girl, isn't it? Chinese or Japanese. She's got the beautiful red. Can we do that red already? It's a vermilion kind of thing. It's her culture also. And any which ways in the picture, she's got red. So that is it. So I'm choosing this. Tell me what you're choosing. I'm hell bent because my favorite colors are blue, and I want to give her the blue. But I know, yeah, I'm going to give her the red. She deserves the red. So I'm going to give her the vermilion color fully. And I will have to make sure that this is just coming out like that, that kind of red that is popping out and strongly connecting her to her culture. Looking for another brush. I have flat brush number 5. Guess this works. I'm in need of cold pressed linseed oil. I usually pour and keep it in a old tin lid. You have seen that being discussed in the basics. Just taking a little bit of it now. Not too much. I dip a little bit and then I'm going over. So here I am looking at the way I will make the borders of her hand go. Okay. I'm not focusing on the spaces for jewelry and so on right away. I'm only focusing on having one solid color done. Well, when we come to the next layers, maybe we will try to do a little more of detailing to do, um, shadows and shades and so on. Yes, for the benefit of those who are wondering, oh my God, it's all flat, the picture is flat, what is she doing? Do not worry. We are going to work on the shadows and dark versus light in our next class. So yeah, or the class that ensues for after layer 2. I focus on blocking the canvas with colors, so we are able to see a flat image, but it also gives an idea of where we are wanting to go, and if we have to change course or so. So I like the idea of building a structure around my process of art making, that um, I take it one step at a time and make it so you know easy for myself and also for those who are following. So it's not too many things at a time. It shouldn't stop you if you are an expert and if you want to do shades already, and you're very clear about it. It shouldn't stop you from doing it. I'm just keeping in mind that this set of classes are also for the benefit of those who are learning this whole process for the first time, and are new to the idea of doing many things, and need the time. They need the time to do the thought, go through the thought process of light versus dark, and um, yeah, whatever is away from their eyes versus what is near to their eyes. All these things, they come to them. They come to them. I'm giving it a lighter thing, but I think it will help to add a bit of white as well. It turns slightly on the pinky side, but I want to hide as much as I can the previous lines if it is possible. So I'm just trying to see if it is possible. Well, I did do strong lines. It's okay. If I've managed to do this, the next thing will be to focus on something a little more challenging, which is the eyes and the lips, nostrils, and so on. So this was like a warm up. So you are focusing on certain things, but not into intricate details. We also need to work a little bit on the intricate detail. Let's do that. So for that, I'm just moving this away. I'm going to take brush number 0 or 1. And let's look at the way her eyes are. See, her eyes are black, but on the sides of her eye, there is this white tint, light white tint. And you need to take a tiny bit of titanium white to go over that tiny white section before you hit the eyeball, the iris, and such. Then it is slightly easier. When you do that tiny white tint, you can use the tiny white tint also for her teeth. Just leave that space there, white. We will deal with it later. Once that is done, the next step is for you to take ivory black. Again, in your zero brush or a micro brush, whatever that is available to you, to work on her beautiful eye. All right, and now I'm going to work on the very thin eyelid as well. So for this, before I do the black, I'm going to use the skin color to go over the top portion of it. So I cover this section. We are not working on details, but we need certain level of detailing at least to proceed to the next steps. So I take the black to go over ever so lightly on her eye line. Okay. I think I managed that. Now I will just leave the space also cleared for her eyebrows. Now I look at it, what is kind of missing is that the way the eye is closing in for her. Yes. To a certain extent, I think it looks okay. A little bit more of the skin color to go underneath the eye. Also here. Then it's okay. All right, I'm not going to go into any further details. This one seems fine. So I'm going to switch to taking a little bit of yellow ochre to do the nostrils. Yellow ochre goes well and it just blends in wherever you want, and to help you create what you want to create easily here. So let's do that. And the shape of her cheek. And now I think it is time to. It looks like a bunny teeth. Oh, I love it. It's so innocent, even though it is incomplete. It's so funny. I'm enjoying this. Okay, I need to try to get seated. All right, so here I'm going to take to this yellow ochre. If we added a tiny bit of vermilion, also it works to give you that kind of pinky browny shade that we will use as a base color for her lip line, to draw her lip line. It is even more lighter pinky color, I understand. Start with that to create a foundation, and then it is easier when you do the layers to make it even lighter, when you come to that. So it's just that we need to create the foundation for such lighter layers to sit on. So doing the lip line. You see that. Oh Lord. She looks pretty already. Okay, cool. So I think I've managed that lip line. And hmm, what else do we do to her? I need to give that a bit of finishing tonality here around her cheek. We are not going to work on all these details right away, but still, some of it helps. So I do that. And I will blend it in with her skin color. Yes, that takes care of it for now. And we'll have to add a bit of this, yellow ochre, darker one that we added for her lip to blend a little bit there, because there's one thing we need to understand. When we draw the hair strands in the further layers to come, we should always remember that the shadow of the hair strands make the skin tone look slightly darker as compared to the one that you see where the light is thrown fully. So I want to add that darkness slightly, not too much, very, very lightly. Um, so I'm going to add that and blend it in some of the places. It's still the skin color, but it is slightly on the, one tone darker as compared to what you have in her cheek, let's say. And when we build that in each and every layer, it starts emoting, and at one level it becomes very easier for you to just throw the hair strands, and you'll find that it looks so natural. Yeah. So that's done, and I'm going to go back to take the red, the vermilion, to do her what is that hairband, whatever that she has. I just fill in. There's so many colors. We'll do that. We will do that when we come to the details. But for now, I'm just going to do. Um, oh, she looks lovely. Yes. Okay. I want to work on her hair. And it is in this. Hair isn't totally black. Even the eye isn't totally black. It's got a little bit of, it's yellow ochre mixed with black. Come to think of it, I will also add that and do that one more time. So I'm adding a little bit of yellow ochre there, so it doesn't go totally black. Yeah, tiny bit of yellow ochre added. It doesn't look totally black. Yes, that is fine for now. And I'm going to take that color that I added. So it's yellow ochre, and it has a mix of black. So it's on a darker brown scale, maybe close to burnt umber, or even yeah. You can actually take burnt umber also directly if you want. That's also not a big deal to work on. I am just filling in that space of her hair. Well, by now you should have guessed that I'm a fan of little girls. So I totally forget where I am. Yes. I think that should be a part of, being an artist, that you're able to forget yourself and just enjoy doing what you're doing. And I hope you're also enjoying it as much. So I am really hell bent to work on the details like this, but I'm not going to do it. because I know that I want it to dry and I want that to have that color shading done. Then it is easier for us to work on the hair length. Yes. So that was done, and right now I'm going to take a bit of yellow ochre and add to it some kind of gold, so we can use that for her crown and also the pot and such. Yeah. So if you have a bit of yellow ochre, you can add a bit of yellow to yellow ochre. So if we recall what we did for her skin, we did yellow ochre and a bit of vermilion, and here we are going to take only yellow ochre and yellow, and take maybe a bit of titanium white to lighten it up if you need, but I don't see the need of it though. Let's see. Hmm. To just give that impression of something that is possibly gold. Yeah. I have gold color that I will use when I do the layers, but for now I think this is good enough for me to work with to create that background that is needed for the jewelry. Yeah, I might use it a little bit here just to give an effect, but yeah, it doesn't really matter here. I'm going to use that for the pot. Maybe I want to make the pot slightly bigger and also use that for her belt. I haven't decided on what kind of ornament that's going to be. But she is, in a way, even though we are in the earlier stages, she looks that authentic uh, Chinese kid. Even though I'm putting her up in this Asian goddess or Indian goddess scenario. She looks so pretty, and this is exactly what I was also imagining, that each of the girls look their own when I do all the 8 paintings. That each of the girls look their own authenticity. At the same time, they also emote the traditional background that I am trying to portray here. So yeah, yeah, get it. So let's now focus on the lotus flowers and then get on to, oh, there are two important characters. Did we miss them? Who are they? The elephants. And they also have some gold pots. Oh, no, 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 no. We should have taken care of that. Let's do the same gold pot here. And the gold pot here. And they are wearing, what are they wearing? There's a cloth they are wearing, and that also has kind of red. Okay, I think we could use that to do the similarity. So I'm just going to paint, and I'm painting the sides as well. I'm painting their clothing with the same kind of red that she's got. And I will assume that this has golden borders. So I will go back to using that um, the color that we mix, the yellow ochre with the yellow, to get kind of, and it is blending with all my, all the previous grids colors. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. It works. Gonna do that for the other. Let me show you turn this around so you can see a little more of a little more of the side. Huh? So when I'm painting this side, mm, when I'm painting the side, I want the side also to capture the elephant. So I'm just making sure that it's in alignment. And this elephant's cloth is also in alignment. Yes, we managed that. And now I'm ready to move on to the elephant itself. Elephant is, what color is the elephant? And that's a very good question that I want to ask you also before we get started. I know that there's a lot of nature lovers and people who know more about animals. The elephants that we draw in such paintings are white elephants. And it's a good question. Do you see white elephants still? Are they existent? That's always a good question. But the period or the goddesses period really, is is coming from those centuries where there used to be white elephants and the vehicles that goddesses and gods have used mostly show that white elephant. It's also a symbol for purity and symbol for so many things. And I think it's called, the white elephant is called Airavat, if I remember correctly. That's Indra's vehicle. And the white elephant is something prevalent in most of the paintings that you will see, or most of the artwork that you will see related to such god and goddesses. For those who are trying to understand all these logics and what is this god and goddess and so on, I want to give a little bit of overview, but just before that, I wanted to show you something. And I did it deliberately so I could show you something here. So what I did was to take, in a round brush number 4, I took titanium white directly and put it. And this titanium white is in the natural white of any animal as such. It doesn't look natural. So it needs to have a little bit of yellow ochre, tiny bit of it blended, so it doesn't look so whitey white. That whitey white, isn't the right white for depicting such animals. Let's say, for example, you want to paint a bull or a cow. I would also do that. So for your view in the camera, maybe if I'm changing right now, it will all look the same. But somewhere down the line, I think you will figure out that the titanium white isn't helping in building that image properly. So yeah, remember that. And at this start point itself, if you are focusing on that, it's going to give a very good effect that you add a tiny bit of yellow ochre. You can also add pink if you wanted to have that very light, feeble pinky aspect to the white. That's also good. Bluey aspect to white, that's also good. So a very tiny piece of white before that. Yes, there is gold, that jewelry that the elephant is wearing. the yellow ochre again. Good. So now that we are done with that, I'm focusing on the body of the elephant. It's good that I didn't take blue because this is supposed to have that water background when we do the background of this painting. So it will make sense that the elephants are in the water. That's why the legs aren't shown. So we managed that. Let's do the other elephant. Also here, I haven't done anything about the eye. It's just the same. Possibly work on it in the next layer to come. Go around the contours and finish up filling the animal. Okay, and I think right now we are done with the animals white and ready for something interesting, that is the lotus flowers, before we get to the background. So the focus on the lotus flowers is going to be that we are going to use crimson. I haven't, like I said, I haven't really decided on how to show the differences in the flowers, even though because I have to draw so many lotus flowers in all these paintings. Unless you also have the challenge because you chose to do all of my courses. Yay, I'm very happy then you are with me. Okay, so this is one challenge. So I'm adding uh, crimson. I've taken crimson and I'm going to add a bit of titanium white to get a pink, and then see how things go with that. I think we have this white, like we can use it. This is, I only added a tiny bit of white here. So it's really on a dark crimson side. I'm going to leave it like that, not worry about it, and see how things are. When we work onto the details, then we will adjust it. Yes, it looks fair enough for now. Good, and I'm going to keep that. Okay, I'm having to move the canvas slightly up so you could see what I'm doing here. I'm making these petals slightly bigger so that it shows like he's seated on it and the petals are engulfing her, which I couldn't take care of when I was doing the first, planning. She's a little girl and she's seated really comfortably inside the petals, rose petals, sorry, not rose petals, the lotus petals. So I'm just trying to show that. And yeah. this is how it looks here on this side. I'm going to come back to the other side shortly. We also have to show the pot of gold, or the the dish filled with gold in front of her. Oh, which means we need to go back to the yellow ochre. How interesting. Yes, I'm I'm jumping now. So because there is this need for doing a bit more of gold here. Do you see that? Yes. So this is the plate, and I want to make this plate come up slightly, and then have the gold filled here. So it's blocking. We are not focusing on any of the detail. So just do this for now. Make sure the filling is done nicely. Then move on to other parts. I am still trying to finish up with this lotus flower. Trying to build petals right behind her to give an effect of the point that she is seated right inside. Okay, so coming back to the logic of why we have certain goddess forms and so many, arms and such. I did explain the need and the point of view that I had, that we need so many action hands, meaning we need to be active to really achieve all this wealth and health and so on. And I think that is so practical and natural. Yeah. Aside from that, the hands really go way back to a period. So these goddess and god forms, as I can imagine, really also were historically ruling parts of Asian countries, especially India. Uh, in some form. So maybe it could have been kings and queens, and they were celebrated because of whatever good they did and so on. It could be that, if you look at it from that point of view. So they were, there is in some cases there is proof of presence of certain god or demigod forms. Like for example, Rama, God Ram, Lord Ram. There is still a lot of evidence one can find related to that in the present day world. So yeah, um, so they must have been kings and queens. That's one thing. They might have done so much good and have been motivating people or a clan of people to come up in life in some way or the other. So that could have been one of the attributes as to why they are liked so much. That was one. Another thing that I have learned through these many years of analysis on this is that. There used to be a clan by name Nagas. I will come to that just after we deciding on the color. What do we decide on? I'm thinking of doing only an ultramarine blue. What will happen if it is dark like this? So look at this. I'm painting along with my. So I'm just imagining. Okay, if it is that blue. that you can have waves and so on in some places to lighten and darken and play around with it. So I'm going to try doing this blue for a background. So I've decided on the background color to start with, and then to go into the deeper contours, and then I have a flat brush also to go in areas that are slightly bigger. Okay, I'm going to do this and see what happens with this blue. I'm adding a little bit of oil to that, touch of oil to see how it looks. Okay, not bad. So what I'm going to do is the way I do it when I have to work on the background is that I work on the contours of the key characters in the picture to make sure that I don't mess up that section, and then I will um, come back to larger brushes and work on some sections that are easier. And by this time, we're also seeing that some of our lines that we had drawn in the grids are blending either or vanishing somewhere. And yeah, that's exactly what we are looking for also. So it's helping here. Okay, so coming back to the thought process of Nagas that I was talking about. Nagas were in one period were humans that had multiple arms and features that were possibly a blend of human and an animal feature. And I do not know much about this historical detail, but what I can understand from all these, researching into all these things is that um, human form, the way we see it now, the way we know it now, uh, have evolved from animal forms. And that's science, and I think we all have studied about that during our basic natural science classes, so during school. Uh, and So this evolution did not have or did not happen in an instant way. It was gradual, and when that happened, there were human animal forms or a combination forms existing in some periods of time long ago. So it could be possible that some parts of Asia still celebrate that and still respect that, and maybe that's also the form of god or goddesses that we see that I have learned as a child. Maybe um, and even now, I think you will agree with me when I say that we still see human beings, let's say, that have 6 fingers in a hand, or some kind of things that we call it unusual, or maybe we call it a deformity. We give a lot of different names. We think that it is abnormal, but who are we to define what is normal and what is abnormal? Maybe that used to be the case, and we are now the prevalent or the most commonly seen, I would say, the commonly seen images of a human has this, two hands, two arms and 2 legs and so on. So we have defined that this is how the human has to look, and anything that is that is slightly different is abnormal. So that's something that we have defined as humans, really. But nature really has shown so many forms. Okay, so now I'm looking at the picture of the elephant because I'm missing something here. Yeah, the lips of the elephant had to give it that pinky thing. I'm going to take the lotus pink and fill that in now. Yeah, so it doesn't look like it's incomplete. So now I am filling this section in. I see that the color is gelling well with the previous color range, and I can clearly say that there should be a few more layers of work done for this background before it gets to the finish line. At least now, from some of them, with practice, I can tell some of the colors really go well from the first go. This color needs a bit of work, which is also fine because um, our background needs to have more storyline, being having few animals as well here. So that's fine. If you have chosen another color base and done it differently, please do let me know. I'm curious how things are coming up for you. Uh, this takes a while because we are having so many components here. Like I said, focus on the contours to make sure that you are filling in the contours nicely, and you're not leaving out anything in the canvas unattended, blocking the entire canvas and giving all the colors that they need. That's the focus of this class, and let's keep at it and be done with it. Then it helps us also gauge if we have done any mistakes, we want to correct it, um, or yeah, or if we have missed out something, it also starts showing because now that the colors are there, really everything starts making sense or making no sense, and we learn from that. Mhm. So I think I managed the basics here on this side. Um, Close to the elephant. And now I have to move on to the other side of the elephant. If you feel like there's a need to use a smaller brush to go over these contours, please do so. For me, the brush size is okay as long as it's got a tip that is functional for me. I'll manage with that. Okay, so this is taken care of now. I'm going to go to the bottom here. You could see that I'm working on the side of the flower. Right. So And when I do this, I will also work on the side of the canvas. Like I showed you when I did the elephant's body here and there, I will also do that because it helps me, make sure that the sides are also equally ready. Right now, there is no particular order that I am painting. You see that my brush is just running around amok in all this spaces, but I usually also try to balance the strokes with the larger brushes in a short while. So you'll see that also coming up in a short while. So I'm going to move this closer to me here so it's easier also for you to see a little more. Well, okay. We are nearly there. Just stay put and we will see this painting complete the layer 2 today in this session. Okay. I'm also looking at the space where, these spaces also give some meaning, and if they do not, I want to adjust it also accordingly. So that's exactly how I'm thinking to make sure I'm covering every single area that is to be covered here. Going around the contours. Let's do the contour game here. Around the contours and of the flower and coming down to the hand. And coming down to the larger lotus flower. See? So if we have to work only on the contours, that's also possible. Just focus on that. And to finish up the base work for the background. The base work for the background is that you are just, marking the background's contour, which means you're marking the contour of the key elements. Yes. So let's do the elephant also like that. Then it becomes easier for us to work through all the nuances. So here you go with the elephants. One side that is done. Feet is in water. Okay, I can already see the size is an issue here. We'll have to rework on that. This one is looking tinier. See, all these things really come up because, because we are doing everything. And this is exactly why I also insist that we do not work on one thing at a time. And focus on completing only one section of the painting, and then all the sections are looking good by themselves, but then they are not talking to each other, or there is some size issue or something like that. When you are working like this throughout the canvas, it's easier for you to spot more errors. They may not be errors. Each individual elephant could be looking pretty, but if they are not syncing and if they are not in the right proportion, then what's the use of them being present in a picture like this? You see the point? And that's exactly what I'm trying to drive here. So try to do the background fully. Let's do the other side of the elephant as well. And then also remember to go to the sides. If you haven't done the sides, will you do that? Of course, I do that. Especially in this case that we have the elephant coming up here. Yes. Yep. You see that? So we have actually managed the contours now. So it makes things easier for me to move on to larger brushes and larger brush strokes in the spaces that are left over. Okay, I'm coming to think of it that it will help me to add a bit of white. It looks like it's too late, but I want to add a bit of white because there's a lot of grid lines that are visible, and I know that it will continue to be visible for a while. Um, and I want to lessen that uh, as much as I can. Yeah. So I'm thinking if I added a bit of white here, yes, it's a little too late, but you know what? I can go and fix this. Maybe not in all places, but in some places to have it slightly lighter. To help in the process of blending the colors and hiding the grid lines. So the next layer becomes slightly easier for me. So whatever we are trying to do right now, okay. Whatever we are trying to do right now, if you are leaving something out for the, next layer, then you have a job to do with the next layer. Simple. It's a simple assessment, you do. And I essentially have decided to not focus on the shades and layers yet, which I'm aware of, so I know that I will focus on it in the upcoming layers. This layer is not for that. But in some of the things, like for example, some of the errors that you could fix, you want to fix it soon. This looks much better to me. Yes. And I'm adding the white directly here, bringing down the size of the elephant's leg also a little bit here. Then it matches. Fixed one error. On the go. Let's add the white in the places that are delicate first, and then it's easier to move on with the larger brush stroke. Good. This was most important section, and I think this is now in a tonality that is helping me hide a bit more of my, bit more of the grids. I'm now ready to move on to a larger brush. Yes. flat brush number 11, large, really, to help me with this process now. Going to go directly in those spaces and fill it in real quick. It's a super speed, but just be aware if you are using larger brushes, that you easily go into sections and mess up also the ones that you have put too much effort into. I have done that, so I'm aware of it. I'm trying my best not to go wild with this brush. Fast this is. Good. So we are nearing the completion of this layer, but at this time also do not get overwhelmed. If you feel that you need to take a little more time to work on this, do take that. It's okay. You can see my elephant shape is just getting spoiled because of my done kind of adjusted here as well. Yes, fair enough. And I will take white to blend that in. Fair enough. All right. So do not feel bad if you're taking a little more time to do this. And also the point that I mentioned about the sides of the canvas, in that particular painting, I see that there is this elephant that needs to come from the side, so both the elephants have the character. This is Gaja Lakshmi's painting, so we need to have the sides also done. Even otherwise, I do prefer working on the sides. There are other pictures where there is no character on the sides, but still I have done the sides. Sides help you also frame a context and create a character to the whole painting. So do work on the sides, take them seriously as well. I do at least 3 to 4 layers sometimes on the sides. Yeah. Even though it's the front picture that is viewed, I know that, but I give my best with the sides as well. Okay, so now I have essentially finished up the front view and the two sides. I have to check the other side. No, not on this side, so I'm going to do that. You see that it's giving the character, even at the stage where we are only, 10-15% done. So I need to work on the top and the bottom. So I'm going to, play around with this and move this to sideways. Oh, yeah, that's where I spoil some of this. Okay, accident managed, handled. Okay, it's always a funny situation with smaller canvases that they fall really fast, and I have certainly lost touch with uh, smaller canvases, as you can see. I've been working on larger projects for a while now. So this is also giving me an opportunity to learn. On this side, the top side. Good. Nearly there, nearly there. The bottom side, and then we are going to summarize on what we have done. See, look at it. 3 classes ago, we had an empty canvas, and now we had a plan that is executed, and we have also color blocked it, filled it to see where things will go. See, in 3 hours' time, look how far we have come. So that is possible. And of course, there are errors to fix, there are sections to work and details and find, but in 3 hours you could reach this far, and congratulations to you on that. Right, I'm going to move this again. Fantastic. So I have moved this again, and let's move the camera also. So now it looks like there is something that is coming up and has some meaning to it. So we have reached this far. Congratulations to you on that, as I said that again. I'm saying it again. Okay, so we will be meeting up in the next class to do the layer 3, which will be having a little more depth and dimension, and maybe a little more of detailing. But before that, one suggestion I would give is that you wait for a while for the paint to dry, so you can learn from that and maybe note down some mistakes that you want to correct, or some changes that you want to make, and then you can plan and come back to it when it is fully dry, so it's easier for you to rework on the next layer. So give it some time to rest, a couple of days or 3 days, and depending upon what kind of medium you had used. Let it dry fully, and then you are ready for the next class. Until then, stay blessed, stay happy, stay healthy, stay motivated. Let's meet up in the next class. Bye bye.